Katie, it's Saturday. How long has it been? Seriously. I'm getting ridiculous. Like, my videos, they be getting stupid, they be getting short, they be getting, like, disappearing. Grammar! But luckily, summer, as it were, is appearing upon us. And so I will be able to make videos, which is super great. And they're gonna be fun again. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if you are. I would hope so, because we're like having a channel and stuff. So I just finished a ridiculously long history research paper for history, and it was a research paper. And so I did mine on the history of Broadway musicals because I'm a dork and the only nerd in the theater that is in my school. But in my old fashion of doing history video learning things, I decided that you should see my mouth and my chin. I'm gonna teach you a little bit about some stuff just from like the 1930s, because it gets really extensive and I don't really want to get into it all, but we're gonna have some fun in the 1930s really quick. Okay, go. Okay, so in the 1930s, everybody is like, wow, I has no money. And it was like Great Depression and stuff. So yeah, there was all that going on. And the Works Progress Administration, or the WPA, was like, Zomaga, we need to fix this and give people jobs. So in the fall of 1936, Section 891 of the WPA was formed, which was the classical unit of federal theater. So it was basically made so that people in show business would have jobs. Wait, why don't we have that now? Like, wait. Anyway, so it was a very cool idea. Everybody was having a grand old time, and it was just great because everybody could do shows, and they made money, and it was great. They got to do what they love, yada yada yada. But then composer Mark Blitzstein created a show with director Orson Welles and producer John Houseman called Cradle Will Rock, which kind of changed the game. Cradle Will Rock was a musical about the rise of CIO and labor unions and the steel strike of 1937. It's a poster premiere on June 16th, 1937, but 3 days before they performed, a dozen WPA security guards locked the theater, prohibiting the performance. As Tim Robbins said, someone wanted to make sure that play didn't open. Someone was afraid of it. Someone decided to go to the theater and lock it. And 9 times out of 10, that would have worked. But they didn't count on the fact that Orson Welles was the director and John Houseman was the producer. And those are two incredibly strong, powerful personalities. And not only believed in their creative and artistic rights, but also in America, and what it is to be free in America, and what freedom of expression really means. The play that they wanted to put on left the WPA shaking in their boots. They were so afraid of what they had to say. So they closed down where they were going to perform, which pretty much contradicts the whole idea of the Classical Federal Theater, or whatever it was called, because they're closing down their own production. So like a year and a half later, on January 3rd of 1938, the show opened at the Venice Theater. Except all of the actors were prohibited from acting on stage. So that kind of didn't help them. So composer Mark Blitzstein was just like, that's okay guys, I'll just do it. So he grabbed a piano and he went on stage to sing and play through the score. But the actors had something else in mind. They all stood up from their seats in the audience and performed from their seats all of the lines and songs, and pretty much did the performance in the audience and around the audience. They used the entire theater except for the stage. Robbins remarked again, in standing up, those actors were risking everything. And when we say everything, you gotta remember, this was a time before Social Security, before unemployment insurance, before welfare. If you lost your job, that was it. These people, in doing what they did, were really creating a huge image of courage. Everyone involved could have potentially lost their jobs, but they risked it all because it was a project they believed in. You know, like, labor unions were so important during the 1930s, and the message they were sending to the American people And the actors believed in that. And so they didn't care that they could lose their jobs. They wanted their message to get across, which is super important. And I think that's really cool that, they were willing to give it all up for the sake of their message. And that was pretty much the essence of the 1930s. And because of the Great Depression, there were so many different organizations created to benefit and protect certain people groups. And that's exactly what this play was about and what these actors were all about, which was fighting against the status quo and saying, what's happening right now isn't okay, and we need to fix it for good, for the good of now and for tomorrow. That's all I really have for this week. I will see you on Wednesday, Katie, and do not forget to be awesome.